Every time you walk to the checkout counter to buy groceries, you pay a hidden tax. Many politicians claim this is the result of corporate greed, companies raising prices simply because they can. Others point to the Federal Reserve, arguing that printing trillions of dollars has devalued the currency. But money is digital digits or paper. Its value is only as high as the goods and services it can actually buy. Physical wealth, the food on the shelves and the trucks that deliver it, requires human beings to create and provide it. There is an unavoidable mathematical truth at the center of the American economy. This crisis does not care about interest rates or which party is in power. It is built into the population itself. Looking at the data, it becomes clear that the current pressure on the cost of living is a preview of a much larger shift. To understand why money is losing its power, we have to look past the financial charts and count the human producers who are no longer there. The economy is facing a deficit of labor. Millions of prime-age workers who should be building homes and harvesting crops today simply do not exist. United States birth rates have been in a multi-decade decline, recently falling to roughly 1.6 births per woman. To remain stable, that rate needs to be 2.1. The gap between that baseline and our current reality represents a massive shortage of future producers. The result is an economy that is mathematically running out of people to build and supply goods. Consider an electrician named Tom. For 40 years, Tom was a producer. He maintained the power grid and provided essential labor to the economy. The day Tom retires, the supply of his labor disappears. He is no longer fixing wires or wiring new homes. However, Tom's demand does not disappear. He still needs food, heat, and gasoline. As he ages, his need for labor-intensive healthcare will likely increase. Tom has moved from a net producer to a net consumer. He is no longer contributing to the supply of goods, but he is still bidding for them. Now, scale this up. Roughly 10,000 baby boomers reach retirement age every single day in America. Every year, millions of producers become pure consumers. This shrinks the total supply of labor while demand remains high, which is why your bills continue to rise. When you combine the shrinking workforce with the growing retiree population, you see the central balance of our economy, the demographic dependency ratio. In 1950, during the post-war economic expansion, there were 7 working-age adults for every 1 retiree. By the year 2000, that ratio had tightened to 5 workers for every 1 retiree. Today, the ratio is moving towards just 3 workers supporting each retiree. The burden on each individual worker has effectively doubled. The United States is shifting from a nation of creators into a nation of consumers. When demand consistently outpaces the capacity to produce, price increases become structural. This trend hits a milestone in the year 2030, a point often referred to as the demographic cliff. By 2030, all baby boomers will be 65 or older. For the first time in American history, there will be more older adults than children. As the labor pool thins, companies will be forced into bidding wars to secure basic workers, which will drive wages higher. But because there are physically fewer people making goods, those higher wages will simply chase a smaller pool of products. The math here is straightforward. Fewer producers plus more consumers leads to a persistent structural rise in prices. This is why the Federal Reserve cannot solve the problem. You cannot conjure missing generations of workers out of thin air. You cannot print a 25-year-old truck driver or subsidize a nurse who was never born. There are physical limits to what policy can achieve. The political debate will continue to focus on corporate profits and government spending, but those are secondary to the demographic reality. Unless automation and AI can scale to replace the output of the millions of workers who aren't there, the era of cheap living is over.